Hey guys, Omerko here, self-taught web developer. So, just 1 week ago, there was an announcement that Bootstrap 5 is coming out live soon. And we have, for now, alpha version of it. It will have new features, icons, more stylings, and it will be even more customizable than Bootstrap 4. So, as we will get a new version of this technology, let's remind us how easy it is to create a simple website, simple landing page with Bootstrap 4. So, without further introduction, let's jump into code. This is the example of the website that we will create today. So there is navigation bar, kinda header here. There is some section here with the main content. There is a services section in 3 columns, and there is kinda 4. Also here there is a footer. Without further introduction, let's jump into code. So let's first check what do we have in my index.html file. There is a title for my web page, a link to a Bootstrap CSS file. This is hosted on CDN. And down in the body I have 3 scripts. One is for jQuery, that is kinda need to Bootstrap, and there is also one for popper.js and Bootstrap 4.5, the latest version of JavaScript. Also, for this landing page we won't use any CSS here, so there won't be need for a CSS file or a style in my head tag. We will just focus on creating a landing page with clean Bootstrap. Let's code. So I will first create my navigation bar, that blue bar that we have at the top. To create that, I will use a nav tag. On that I will add a class of navbar. This navbar declares a navigation bar in Bootstrap. Then I will add a navbar expand LG. This class is allowing navbar to have a desktop look on larger screens, and on a smaller screens to have a toggle button for more of the navigation. You will see that soon. I will also add a class of navbar dark. This navbar dark will just set transparency of the text. So for example, if we have a blue navigation bar, as we will have, then our text will be more visible. So it will set it to a white or a black color depending on a background. So I will add a background color. For that I will use BG primary. This primary basically means that it will add the blue background. This BG as a first 2 letters stands for a background, and this is not related to the navbar. This could be set for any section, which we will see soon. So next thing that I will have inside of my navbar is navbar brand. So anchor tag, and here I will set hash to be. Then I will have a class of navbar brand, and here I will just use a company logo. So let's go to a browser just to check if we have this logo on the screen. So yes, as you could see, we already have that blue line for our navigation bar, and here on the left is our logo. So now regarding that toggle for the responsive look of the navbar, I will add a button. Button will have a class of navbar toggler. This navbar toggler declares a button that we will toggle navbar on smaller devices. To that I also need to add a type for a button. Then I will add a data toggle to be equal to collapse. This data toggle declares type of a toggle that button will have. Will use. Then I will add a data target, and this data target basically targets a section that will collapse on a click of our button. So I will pass here the ID as the hash, then responsive, well, nav res for responsive. So soon we will have this section with this ID. Then inside of a button I need some kind of content there, so maybe just a letter, but here I will use a span, and I will use a class on span. So there will be a navbar toggler icon. So this navbar toggler icon, this will basically set the icon with 3 bars to represent the menu on smaller devices. So let's go in the browser and check this. Save. So first of all, we don't see that navbar toggler here because we have the navbar expand the LG class on our navigation bar. But if I inspect element and I shrink my screen here, I will have that button here, right? So this will currently do nothing. But let's add that responsive section that should be collapsible. So for that section, I will add the class of collapse and navbar collapse. These two classes will declare a section that will accept collapsing animation on it. Also, I need to pass ID to this section, and the ID will be nav res, as we target here, the data target should be the same as this ID. So inside I will have an unordered list with class of navbar nav, and this navbar nav will declare links in navbar, our navigation, right? I will also add one more class of ml auto. This means basically that margin left will be set to auto, so the content of this will be moved to the right side fully. This class is not related to the navigation bar, but it will move the content to a right side no matter where we use it. Inside I need to have a li for the list item. I will pass a class to it. I will pass a nav item. This class declares the item, our link item in our navigation bar. Inside I should have an anchor tag for the link, and this will also have a class of nav link. Nav link declares the link inside of the navigation. So I will have a home, and let me copy this 2 more times, like 1, 2, then about, services, and one more for contact us. Let's go in browser and check this. So I'm on my responsive. If I click here on my toggle, then I should get the toggle of these links, as this is the collapsible section. But if I'm on larger screens, yeah, this is how will I get my navigation links. It is totally moved to the right side thanks to that ML auto class. I also wish to have this kind of bolder, so I will add a class on it. Here in my first list item, I will add next to this nav item active class. Active class set a current page, basically. It will have a styling of a current page, so it will basically mean that we are currently on a home page. And if I refresh my screen, you can see that here. So now let's work with the header. So down here, I will add a section of header, and this section will contain a couple of classes. First of all, I will add a class of Jumbotron. Jumbotron declares a big section with some stylings. I will add also one more class. I will add a background light to set the kind of lighter color for our background. As we use the backlight primary on our navigation bar, you should know this class now. And I will add a text center. So this text center class puts all the text inside of this section in center. Inside I will have a section of container, and the container makes everything wrapped to a center of a screen. If we would use a container fluid, then that will be expanded to full width of our browser. Then I will have a h1 with hello world, and I will have a paragraph. This paragraph could have some lorem ipsum text. That's good. And I will add a class of lead here. So class lead. This is also a Bootstrap class. Lead makes paragraph text larger, so to stand out more and be more visible. And as a last element here, I will add a button. It will be type of button. I will add classes to it. So class of btn. btn declares a button. So btn lg, it will declare a larger button. So there will be a larger text, more padding to it. and btn primary. This will make a button background of a button blue. And for the text I will add a contact us. Let's go in a browser and check this. So if I would refresh my screen, I would have my Jumbotron, kinda background light, a bit grayish color. Then there is H1, everything is in center as we use the text as center. Then there is a paragraph, obviously more visible, so it has that lead class. And there is a contact us, larger button with btn LG class and also primary background color. The next section is about us. So this will be a bit larger section, and so let's create it just. So first of all, to create the about us, I would add a section with ID of about. This is nothing for Bootstrap, this is just for myself to have entire section wrapped around. So first of all, I will add the container here. Container, sorry I misspelled that, container. Then I would add the next section with the class of row. Container, you know already what it does, I mentioned that in a header. Row declares a row which will have columns basically. And for the columns, there is 12 columns in Bootstrap. Most of you will know this. So first of all, I will use a call md of 7. This will call md of 7 declares 7 columns of those 12. And this will be 7 columns on medium and larger devices, and for smaller devices it will take up the full width, full 12 columns. So here I wish to have my h2, and I will add, for example, quick description for about us, right? And I will add a class here. Class would be mt5. This basically means that the margin top would be 5 rems. So it will move our heading here from top by 5 rems. And 1 rem is basically equal to default font size that we have. So it will be this, but times 5. Then I will have a paragraph with lorem ipsum text. I will copy this 2 more times so there is a bit more content. And after this section, call md7, I will add 1 more section with call md5, and with that 7 plus 5 is 12. So we have full 12 columns used here. Inside I will pass just an image, and for the source of the image I would pass https, then //pixam.photos. This will basically give me a random photo, and I will pass the values for the photo, so 500 for width and 500 for height. So the alt name could be image, that's good, and this image will have classes on it. So class, first class that I wish to pass is image responsive. Image responsive set image to take full width of set a section on all screen sizes. And 1 more class, I will add an image thumbnail. This class is well, have more stylings for the image, have more padding and border around it. Let's just go in a browser and check this out. So once I'm here and I refresh my page, I will have my random image. I will have on the left side my h2 with 3 paragraphs. There is obviously spacing here as we have that mt5 class. So the image should be fully responsive. Let's check that. So inspect. If I make my screen smaller, then at some point you can see that the image is shrinking, and here image should go down. Yeah, that's good, right? So the image also will scale with the screen. That's great. So the image also have this border out padding. That's because we have that image thumbnail on it. Let's add 1 more section like this, but reversed. So here now I would copy this row entirely to add 1 more row to it. So row, I would cut this color MD5 section and put it above my call MD7 section. So we could have the reversed order of those. I would add to this row also MT5. So we could divide this row by 5 rems from a top margin by 5 will be moved from a top. So this row is not kinda next to this row. Let's go in the browser and check this. So now if I refresh my page, here I would have 2 sections like this, and this already looks like a landing page, right? So now for my services, I will have 3 different sections here next to each other. So as we have 12 columns in one row, those will be divided by 3, and we will have 4 columns for all of our sections there. Let's just code this. So here, after my about section, I will add one more section with ID of services. This is also not based of Bootstrap, this is just for myself. And I will use container, and then obviously row. So this row first, as we wish to have a text in center, I will add a text center class to it, and also MT5, so 5 rems move from top. Then first section that I will have a class of call LG4. So this will take up 4 columns on larger screens devices, and for the smaller ones it will be 12 columns. So inside of my section I would have an image. For the source I will copy this same HTTPS link here, but there will be no 500 and 500. I will pass one for 140 and 140 here. The alt could also be an image, and for the classes of this image I will use image responsive, as we basically need to use it here also, and I would use a class of called rounded circle. So this will basically create my image as a circle, which you will see soon. So here down below I wish to have my H2. I will use a service 1. Well, I will set a service 1 as a text, then paragraph of lorem ipsum, and I could have an anchor tag as a link, and the classes I would pass btn for a button and btn info. This btn info is basically one more color for a button that we could use. So I would add a text to be more about service and these 2 arrows. So now here, if I would refresh my page, there should be the full service, right? So there is a rounded image, works nice. Then there is a service 1 paragraph, everything is in center as we have that text center class. There is this button. The button kinda looks green, right? Because we use that info color. Let's add 2 more of these sections. So first of all, I will remove this B as it's uppercase and put the smaller case, then the lowercase. Then I would use well, I would copy this section 2 more times, and I would just change service 2 and service 3. So let's go in the browser now. So if I would refresh my page now, okay, we can see all those 3 services here. The next section that we will do will be the contact us section. But first, let's check the responsiveness of this section. So I would inspect, then I would make my screen smaller, everything looks fine. And here, well, we could have more spacing here for the images and the buttons, but it's fine for me. This is not the totally serious project, yeah. But the main goal here is to have a responsive web page, which looks nice, right? So let's go to contact us section now. So for contact us, down here I would add new section with ID of contact us. To this section I would pass also the classes. So bg dark, not light now, this will make a darker background. and I will add a margin top to 5, and I would add P3. This P3 will basically add the padding. It will add a padding on all sides by 3 rems. So first thing that I wish to do inside is add a container, then my row, and I would have a, yeah, let's first move my section in center. So I would put the call of MD of 3. So this div will be empty, and I will add a call of MD of 6. So basically my content here will be pushed by 3 columns from left side, then it will take up the 6 columns, and on the right side it will have 3 columns of empty. So my content won't even spread fully to this container, so just to these 6 columns. So inside of these 6 columns I need to add 4. There is no need for action. Then I will have a section called form group. This form group declares a form group which could include a couple of elements inside. This is just for the form itself in Bootstrap. So I will first add a label. Label will be for full name. Then I will also add a class on it of text light. Well, this class you already know. It will set the color of this text to white color. Then inside of label I will have a text of full name, and down here I will have an input field which will have a type of text, then a class of form control. This form control makes the form elements basically be more stylish, right? And I will add the ID of full name and the name of full name, so we could target it with this label here. I would copy my form group fully and paste it. So now for this for I would use your message, not full name. So here I should also use your message like this, and the type for the input is text. That's good. Form control is good. Then ID should be your message and name also. After this form group I will add one more button, and this should be a type of submit. This button will just submit this form. I would use a class on it, so btn for button, btn lg for larger button, and btn primary, and we could say submit here. So let's check this out. So if I would refresh my page here, you will see my darker background for my section, as we use that bg dark. There is spacing up top, there is padding here, there is our label, there is more styled input field with form control, there is our larger button, so everything is set up. So the last section would be the footer that we would set up. First, to check this responsiveness, so if I would go to smaller screens, everything looks fine. A bit more smaller, looks nice. Yeah, and at some point it won't have the 3 columns moved from the left side. It will just be the 12 column as we would have on our smaller screen devices. Looks nice. So for footer, here I would add section called footer, then classes to it of bg dark, so it kinda looks the same as the contact us section, then p3 for padding, and I would add a section of container. Let's use fluid here so you could see the difference, but I think that you already know a Bootstrap. Then a row, and here I would pass a call. This call basically we could pass as we are passing the call md6. This will basically, this call, just the call, will take up the entire space. So if we would have just one call inside of row, it will take up the 12 columns. If we would have 2 calls in a row, then it would take up first one will take 6 columns, the second one also 6 columns. So Inside I would have a paragraph, class of lead, as we use that, then text could be light, and margin bottom could be 0, and text for the paragraph could be, yeah, I will just use my copyright here, so Omerko as a name of a channel is. So I think that's it. Let's just go and check it. So here, if I would refresh my screen, after my form I should have this kind of footer, the same background, padding, more padding, there is a light text, there is my copyright, everything is in place. So without any CSS, with just simple HTML markup and Bootstrap 4 classes, we were able to create a simple yet workable landing page. This landing page is also fully responsive, as you saw, has some nice features like collapse menu for navigation bar, but yet it was easy and fast to create. I honestly hope that you like what you saw today. If you do, please click like and subscribe, as I'm posting new content weekly. Thank you and see you in the next video.